Caruso runs a break. Caldwell Pope goes to the wing here. James! Oh!
Trying to play at the defensive end. Got blown by back.
Oh, yes!
Hook jam!
Harden step back. Puts up the three. Got hit. Shot's good! And one!
Back this time here. Set.
Oh! Russell Westbrook!
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Kendall K. Howard. I'm back here today with another episode of shoot. Forget it. Trey Ball. Thank you all for joining me again. I know I didn't come to you all these past, I guess it would be week and a half or week or so. I went on a little vacay. I had to go spend a little anniversary with my girlfriend, so that's why I wasn't talking to you all about the playoffs in week 3. But we are here to talk about week 4. Last week's playoffs, as we are now entering week 5 as I am recording this right now. The Celtics and the Heat are playing right now in the first game of the Eastern Conference Finals. A great game going on, by the way. We'll get into talking about their last series. So is there anything else I want to cover before we get straight to it? It's with sad heart. Pouring out for the homies. I'm not going to pour it out. No, it's water. I don't care. Pour one out. I pour one out for them. Another one of my teams has fallen and are out the playoffs right now. If you know me, you know I'm talking about the Houston Rockets. They have been eliminated by the Lakers, not in a 6 or 7 game series, which is what I thought it would go, but 5 games. The Lakers gentlemen swept the Rockets in a 4-1 series. Now, who was to blame for this loss for the Rockets? Well, let's start with what the Lakers did to beat the Rockets, first of all. The Lakers, in game 1, they lost to the Rockets after coming off their 5-game series against the Trailblazers before then, where the Rockets played 7-game series, which many predicted the Lakers to take game 1, but the Rockets took that game. But it was from then on out that LeBron James and the AD and the company decided to take over and win 4 games straight. The Lakers, at first, they was, blitzkrieged by the Rockets offense and their small ball, and the Rockets played well in their defense, as the Lakers at that point played big. But they made some adjustments to match up with the Lakers, as any good coaches do in the playoffs. The Frank Vogel and his assistant coaches did very well defensively because they are a defensive-minded team. And they went a little bit smaller. I think they threw AD at the 5 and Markieff at the 4, so they'd be able to switch on these players. And it was pretty ugly. They started double-teaming Harden. As soon as he crossed half court, we shut off a lot of the Rockets' offense, even though Harden, he had some good games, but it was a little bit shoddy throughout the series. In Game 5, man, the Lakers, we talk about them not being a great three-point shooting team. They went 19 for 37 that game, and they shot the lights out that game. Man, it was unreal. I'm talking about even KCP was hitting threes. Danny Green hitting threes. Taylor Horton Tucker, a rookie on that team, he didn't even touch the court this season. I don't even think he did. And all of a sudden, he started getting good minutes in the playoffs, averaging 7 points in the 2 games that he played. LeBron did his thing, as usual. AD did his thing, AD, he didn't really, in Game 5, he didn't really score for real. I think even to the second half. So in Game 5, the rest of the team was doing the work at that point. Playoff Rondo came back. He was doing his thing too. Caruso hit a crucial 3 in Game 4 where the Rockets was trying to come back and not go down 3-1. And because I remember that, because they was getting blown out that whole entire game until they went on a 12-2 run in the fourth quarter, because they was slowly etching their way back in. Then the Lakers just still put the foot on the gas pedal and not let them come back. And Caruso hit that 3 in the corner to solidify them winning that game. As I said, from the Rockets side, there was some shoddy games from James Harden, Russell Westbrook included. I think Russell Westbrook averaged like 17 points in that series, if not the playoffs altogether. James Harden averaged 29. But In Game 5, they shot terrible from 3. Terrible. Going 13 for 49 from 3 in Game 5. They got beaten their own game by the Lakers, who I said was one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league. Actually, 27th in the league in three-point percentage, I think, last time I checked. Harden went 2 for 11 in Game 4. That was his worst game of the series. I think he finished with 33 points in Game 5. Russ went 4 for 13 in Game 5 himself. So, it wasn't when those two don't play good. They played all right, but not good enough to carry the team. And also with the loss of Daniel House, with that whole situation / scandal, I ain't gonna get into that side of it. But the situation itself of them losing Daniel House with his 11.4 points and 6 rebounds coming off the bench, which they missed tremendously. Or I think he even started some games too. Yeah. No, he didn't. He came off the bench. With him coming off the bench, they missed that. Some of the other players on the team didn't get as many touches as usual. Tucker didn't really play as well as the season progressed, as the series progressed, I should say. Gordon, Rivers, Rocco went out one game. He got hurt. He got fouled. He got hit in the head. I remember that. I remember seeing that. So it comes down to those players. They wasn't getting as many touches. And then ultimately what happened after that game, we saw Mike D'Antoni, which many thought, including myself, was going to get fired because, well, he wasn't going to get fired because his contract was going to be up in the end of this season anyways. So he decided to walk away from the situation. And he left the Houston Rockets. And he actually told the team on the plane on the way back to Houston before they even landed. So who will replace Mike D'Antoni and end up taking this job in Houston Rockets? Because the window of opportunity for this team in championship contention is kind of closing. You have Russell Westbrook, who's 31, going to turn 32 before if not during the next season. You're going to have James Harden, who's going to turn 31. They're still kind of, I guess you want to call, a little bit young, but they're still in their primes, where Westbrook is kind of coming out of the prime, as many people say. But I kind of disagree, because we saw before the bubble even started, he was playing phenomenally well. When they start going to the small balls, I don't think he's really coming out of his prime. Just a little bit on the back end of his prime, but still in it. So there's like a slight chance of this window of opportunity for the Houston Rockets to capitalize on the championship, and it's starting to close quickly as these players age, as this team been together, as D'Antoni was the coach of that team for 4 seasons and only making 1 Western Conference Finals appearance and 3 semis appearances. And they're looking for a cultural reset. So with that being said, with all these trades being made and with Daryl Morey being convinced by D'Antoni to trade Clint Capella and to go all for this small ball, who is going to come in and either keep this type of style play going for the team, or will they change it up? And how will that even affect the team? Because there's not too many big men on this team. I think the only big man they really got is Tyson Chandler. Next to that, it's probably the biggest guy. It's probably Rocco, Jeff Green. I know this man stand around like 6'8", 6'9". So if they try and do a cultural reset, how would that affect the team? We'll see some players getting traded. I don't see Harden or Westbrook getting traded. If they do trade Westbrook, that would be a shocker. But the other players around them, these pieces, what kind of reset are they looking for? What kind of reset is Daryl Morey and Timothy Fertitta in the front office in Houston looking for this team going forward? I don't know. I don't know what to say about. I don't know what to say about it. I knew that they was going to lose. I thought they was going to give them a run for their money at least. But the Lakers just came in. Shut up, George. I hear you laughing through the phone. You're not even here right now. I can just hear you just laughing, just mocking me. But my friend George is a big Laker fan. He knew this was going to happen. But I don't know going forward for the Houston Rockets what their future would look like. It just goes to prove that all the analytics and this whole small ball obviously is not working. It didn't work. They went all in for it this year, hoping that they'll get some results. I think they would have been at least happy they made it to the Western Conference Finals. I think that would have been at least good enough to prove that this was a working formula. Because like I said before, when they first started going small ball, the first game they played, even when they traded Rocco to that team, was against the Los Angeles Lakers, and they beat them and out-rebounded them and just outscored them. It was phenomenal. But with the Lakers making the adjustments that they made, not playing JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard as much in this series, they was able to stop the Lakers. I mean, not the Lakers, but the Rockets, match up with them on the perimeter defensively, kind of cut them off and still have AD down there blocking on the shots in the paint, because when they would cut in, they would be right there blocking them. So And LeBron James, too. LeBron James got a lot of blocks on this team. A lot of blocks, too. So, I don't know what type of culture reset the Rockets going to do going forward. But hopefully, because I see their window of opportunity for a championship, like I said, slowly but surely starting to close a little bit more. And with Westbrook and Harden aging a little bit, I say about 2 more years. They have 2 more years. If that, whoever comes in and try to change it around, where I've been hearing talks about Sam Cassell, who's a former Rocket, Ty Lue, some other coaches that have been floating around. So we'll see where they'll go with that. Next, let's talk about another disappointing series. Not in my favor. I honestly don't give a damn. The Bucks. The Bucks get eliminated by the Heat. Not in 7 games. Not in 6. But in 5. 5 seems to be the magic number today. 5 games. The Bucks got eliminated. Giannis did not play in Game 5. He had an injury, I think, to his ankle. He got injured in Game 4. And even then, you can't really blame the series on his injury because there was 3 games you played and you lost while you was on the court. The Heat, which many predicted them to have, had more heart in this series than the Bucks did. This is more about the Bucks than it is about the Heat winning this series. I think with the Bucks, we're starting to see the problems of them a little bit more because where last year where they faced Kawhi and the Toronto Raptors and you had them kind of wall up on Giannis, stop them from going past the free throw line, the Heat kind of implemented that same type of defense style. And like I said before, the Heat is the only team to beat the Bucks 3 times this season, 2 times in the regular season and 1 time in the bubble. So they already kind of had a defensive strategy against the Bucks, and it worked even in the playoffs. And Mike Budenholzer, who many attribute him to not be a coach to make adjustments in the playoffs. Some people think that's a downside of his game because he's a great regular season coach, as we've seen. They had the best record in the league in the entire league for the past 2 consecutive seasons, but not getting it done in the postseason where it really matters the most is where it's really count. We started seeing some glaring problems with the team, like Chris Middleton. Great player, he's a good all-star player, but he can't be that second guy on the team. If that's what you want to do to win a championship, he fits more as a third guy on the team. I think so, and many others agree too. Nothing wrong with that. He's still a good player, still a good all-star, but he's not really that second go-to guy on that team. And Bledsoe not showing up, and there's been many people talking about, as we've seen with the Thunder, they lost in Game 7 to the Houston Rockets, and Billy Donovan mutually parted ways with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and there's been talks of like trades for Chris Paul and kind of a little reset with the Thunder as well, kind of just staying young and going young. Possibly we could see a trade. There's been rumors of possibly seeing Chris Paul going to Milwaukee. Now, what would that mean? Now, if we see Chris Paul go to Milwaukee, we got to keep in mind his age. He's 35 years old. I think he got 2 years left on this contract after this season. So you have Chris Paul at 35. If you put him on with the Bucks, let's say you trade him for Eric Bledsoe, let's see, some picks, DiVincenzo, who else would they even throw in? I don't know. I guess be some picks because if Oklahoma City want to go young, that would be the way they'll go. I don't see the bad thing for the Milwaukee to do was to trade would be to trade Chris Middleton because at that point you want to keep him there for that. You want to keep Chris Paul with them there to kind of take the ball out of Giannis' hands, but still have like a shooter like Chris Middleton over there and still have a dominant play like Giannis. If that was to happen, they could possibly win the championship next year if that was to happen. That could possibly happen. But you got to keep in mind that window of opportunity because even after next season, Giannis will become a free agent. Will he want to stay in Milwaukee? Will Chris Paul getting old? What will happen with that? Now, Giannis, following this recently, unfollowed everybody on the Milwaukee Bucks organization, his team. And he basically unfollowed everybody except for his family and Kobe Bryant. He's only following 8 people right now. So, and he had talks with I forgot the guy's name. One of the people in the front office. He talked to them for about 3 hours, and basically they was talking to him about what they need to win a championship. And the front office agreed. They said they are willing to go into luxury tax if need be necessary. But with Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that's not really a hotbed of a destination for free agents to go. But with Giannis there, you hope that he can gravitate some players to come there. And you want him to stay in Milwaukee because if he don't, I don't see any likelihood chances of Milwaukee getting a great player like him in a minute, because before Giannis, the great Milwaukee player was Brandon Jennings, O.J. Mayo, Ray Allen, Michael Redd. Before then, I don't even. God, who the Bucks even have? In the 90s and 80s, I can't even tell you. I mean, 80s, Sidney Moncrief. 70s, you got the Big O and you had Kareem. But, like, that, you see how far back I done went. So, obviously, there's like, a cutoff. That's like that's not that many lineage of players to come to Milwaukee. They just been drafted by them. So, you would hope that a player will want to come. If not, we can possibly see Giannis walk. And next season, hopefully they don't do a trade. I hope this doesn't happen, because I've seen something about Miami trying to trade for Giannis. That would be stupid for them to trade, because he's a free agent next season. They have enough cap space to sign him. There have been other teams like the Clippers who are interested in him. The Warriors, who have also had. Let me get some water. I'm over swallowing some dry spit over here. Probably TMI right there. You probably didn't even know about that. But anyways, the Warriors, who is a team I heard about some interest in Giannis Antetokounmpo, which I think would be a great fit with him having some shooters like a Klay Thompson and a Steph Curry. But you also keep in mind their ages too. They're in their lower 30s. I think Steph will be going to be, I think he's 31 right now, and Klay's 30. So do you have like a couple years to go with that, and then Giannis can just have the reins of the team going forward, because you also got to think about the Warriors have a second round, have the number 2 pick, which I think should be Obi Toppin. Or James Wiseman, whoever they pick, whoever it is, it should be a big man to complete their team. So to go along with that, they could possibly trade that next or this season if they want to do a trade. Because I think with their cap space is a little bit more limited, because they already have 3 max players on their teams with Steph, Klay, and Wiggins, and Draymond Green making $100 million for 3 years. So their cap space is a little bit limited, so I can see if a trade was happening with them, how that would go about. And if you can kind of get that young player, whoever they get in the draft, and you can get possibly a Wiggins to go with that, they was to go about that way. Now, the Heat, they was able to get away in Game 5, because when I was watching it, they kind of played a little bit sloppy to begin with. But with the Bucks not having Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the Heat still playing a little bit better, they was able to beat them 103-94. So, and like I said, right now, the Heat is playing the Celtics right now. But speaking of the Celtics in the series, let's talk about a great series that took place. The Celtics versus the Raptors. I mean, what a series. I thought that, I can't say I thought this, because the Raptors is a good competitive team. They have the number 2 seed in the East. I can't say I didn't, or I thought that like they was going to get beat. But the way the series began, it made it seem like the Celtics was ready to just wipe the floor with these guys. But it wasn't until Game 3 with OG Anunoby hit that clutch 3 in the corner after Kyle Lowry inbound the ball with Taco Fall with 0.5 seconds up on the clock to kind of save them and kind of give them momentum to keep this series going. And Kyle Lowry in Game 6, had a phenomenal game. And it was a phenomenal Game 6 was just a phenomenal game altogether. Kyle Lowry finished with, I think, about 33 points that game. They went into 2 overtimes. Both teams starters played like plus 40 minutes. And they was just gassed out. You can just tell, but just watching the game, just gassed out, giving it their all. Kemba Walker didn't really show up until later on, into the fourth quarter. He had a good shot, and then the double overtimes where they sealed the deal. Marcus Smart been playing phenomenal in these playoffs. He's playing phenomenal even right now. Last time I checked, in this Heat and Celtics series that's going on right now, he's shooting 5 for 10 for 3. And it's phenomenal just seeing Marcus Smart, because you remember when he got drafted, when he first came into the league, he wasn't a good 3-point shooter, but he was a good perimeter defender. He still is a great perimeter defender today, going All-NBA first defensive team. But it's just his shooting. I'm amazed, and I admire how he just worked hard at that shot. He's become so much of a great shooter that just now in this game, he's just walking down the court, pull up 3, instant bucket, just like that. And he had a crucial block on Normal Powell in Game 7 to save the C's, to make sure they solidified that win in Game 7. Now, if you've heard me talk about some of these players from both the Celtics and the Raptors, but I haven't talked about one specific player who many, like myself, thought was going to be the guy who actually had a good season for the Raptors. before they came to the bubble, and was the Robin to Kawhi Leonard's Batman last season, but many expected him to be Batman this year, but he became Nightwing. I'm talking about Pascal Sayakam. Where was Pascal Sayakam in this series? Where was he? Well, let's give you the stats. Game 1, he went 5 for 16, finished with 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. Game 2, he went 6 for 16, finishing with 17 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Game 3, 6 for 15, finished with 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. Game 4, 10 for 23, 23 points. Okay, we finally getting over 20 points in Game 4 with 11 rebounds and 2 assists. Game 5, you're going 5 for 9 with 10 points, 4 rebounds and 2 assists. Game 6, you go 5 for 19 with 12 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. And Game 7, the most crucial game of them all, you go 5 for 12 and 13 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists. Now, I forgot what game was it. One of these, it was Game 1 and Game 2 where he was in foul trouble already. I don't know. Where, like I said, many like myself thought he was going to be the guy to help to take this team to victory. He obviously wasn't. He did not show up. He wasn't the guy that we thought he was going to be. Because you may look at this and look at these numbers and be like, oh, okay, this is all right numbers. But this is not what you expect from your star player. Thank God I finally got rid of that. Jesus. Anyways, that's not what you expect coming from your star player on that team. And luckily enough, he had guys like Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, who showed up, Serge Ibaka in some games, Norman Powell as well, to show up, and Anunoby as well, as I said, hit that clutch 3 in Game 3 to show up and kind of, take over the load, because the Raptors is a good, team-oriented, basketball team. But Pascal, who's supposed to be the guy to take him over the hump, didn't take him over the hump. He couldn't even get over. He didn't have enough gas in his car. He's over getting stuck. And the rest of them trying to push him up there. And he just fell right back down the hill when they saw the seas up top. Pascal has to do better. Me and my friend Isaiah, we was joking about him because I didn't really peep it at first. But he talks about how Pascal ain't really got to move. He'll grab the ball, just turn his back and try to do a little shimmy little move every time. So people are catching him on this game. He just could not get it. He hasn't played well since the bubble. So the Raptors still a great team. And even with Kyle Lowry, who I forgot how old Kyle Lowry is. Because I grew up on Kyle Lowry, but I kind of forgot how old he is. This man's 34. So he's getting up there in age. And I think he's a free agent. No, he can't, because I think he got an extension last season. So he's getting up there in age. So where is the window of opportunity for the Raptors to win the championship? Because going into the season, many didn't even think the Raptors to be that good because they lost Kawhi Leonard. But they literally just lost Kawhi, but they kept the same team. And you implemented OG Anunoby, who played well. Terrence Davis, who was on an All-NBA rookie team, All-NBA second rookie team this year. And a couple of those other guys, Chris Boucher, that showed up too for the team. Like I said, they got a lot of depth on that team. But Pascal, who's supposed to be that star, that's supposed to take him over the hump, who won Most Improved Player last season, who averaged over 25 points this year, many thought he was going to be the guy to take him over the hump. And obviously he's not. You got to get better at his playmaking. You got to get better at, his shot creating skills defensively, because he did have some good defensive plays, but he just has to get better if he's going to be the leading guy. If not, hopefully, I saw there was rumors that the Raptors are interested in Giannis Antetokounmpo too. So if he goes up there, Nightwing can go back to being Robin. He has a new Batman in town. You know what I'm saying? So that would be something for them to do. And like I said, Marcus Smart. I'm just impressed with this play. Him and Jokic and Murray, Donovan Mitchell before he got eliminated, have been some of my favorite players just watching this playoffs. I'm liking seeing Marcus Smart heart and tenacity in these playoffs, and I'm just impressed with his shooting too. He went 6 for 11 for 3 in Game 2 and Game 6, and he went 5 for 9 I think in Game 3 or 4, one of those games. But he been playing well. Now let's talk about another series. Let's talk about another series here. This series I ain't even gonna be sad about this series, because these are two teams that I like to root for. The Clippers more so than the Nuggets, but I like both of these teams. But judging how the first game went, I did not expect this series to go like this, where the Clippers had the Nuggets down 3-1. But the Nuggets, just like in last series, just like they did last year in the playoffs, find their way to force a Game 7. And tonight, we have a Game 7 going on. It takes place after this Celtics and Heat game. And boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Oh, God. Ooh, Lord. Ooh, gotta wipe the perspiration off my forehead. If the Clippers lose this series, boy, oh my. Don't let the Clippers lose this series. Let's talk about this, because I remember I was watching this. I didn't get to really watch fully Game 5 and Game 6. I was at work, but I came in just at the right time for Game 5 when I was at work. I came in right at the fourth quarter, and I see, okay, Clippers is up. All right, they're great winning now. 15. It was about 15, but boy. The Nuggets. Apparently, I was listening to them talk on the broadcast. I think Mike Brennan was calling the game that day. They was talking about how Paul Millsap was a crucial point and just kind of keeping the Nuggets in the game and rallying them back in the third quarter. But in the fourth quarter, I watched the comeback happen. These guys bombarding threes. The Clippers look lost on defense. Jokic, who I'm thinking is the best player in this playoffs. I'm calling it. I think he's been the best player in these playoffs. Because who has been able to stop him? He was over here. He had shots over everybody. Montrez, who's only 6'8", but even in the last series, over Rudy Gobert, who's running off a Defensive Player of the Year and won it last year, and his big-ass long arms, shooting over him like it's nothing. These rainbow shots, he's just shooting like it's nothing. Nikola Jokic, and his playmaking skills, if he's getting double teamed, dump it off to MPJ. Dump it off to Murray. Dump it off to Torrey Craig. Dump it off to Gary Harris, who's been playing very well for them defensively too. Golly, I think he is the best player in this series. It's not like as if the Clippers is not showing them, because Kawhi and Paul George, they playing all right. Kawhi, makes some mistakes in the last game in Game 6. I think he finished 23, 28 points that game too. Paul George had 33 last game. But what about the extra 40 points that people like myself have been raving about coming off the bench, and Lou Will and Montrezl Harrell? Did you see him? I didn't see him. They over. I can't tell. Lemon Pepper Lou ain't out there looking like sweet and sour Lou. I mean, god dang. What going on with him? Montrezl Harrell, you won 6th Man of the Year. You're not playing like a 6th man. You're playing like the 12th man. Golly. Can't do nothing against Jokic. I mean, nobody can. I mean, I can't just put that blame on Trey. It's my fault. I ain't gonna put that full blame on you. Because they even threw Paul George on him. Nothing. Kawhi. Nothing. Zubac, who's 7 foot tall. Nothing. Can't do nothing against Jokic. This man is unstoppable. And Michael Porter Jr., who made a little slick comment, about how they need to do better in Game 4 after they lost, but ultimately showed up in moments in Game 5 and in Game 6, who, like I said before, I think he is the piece they need going forward. They're going to win a championship. I think they can. They have a great point guard, and Jamal Murray, he stays consistent. You got Gary Harris, who plays well defensively. He's a good 2 guard. Michael Porter Jr., Paul Millsap, as he's still here before he gets out of the league, because he's kind of up there in age too. And Jokic, if they don't have Millsap there, they got Grant. So you have these players. Then, if not, you can throw Porter at the 4 and Barton at the 3 in these upcoming seasons. That's a championship caliber team, because all these guys are relatively young. Jokic is still young. Jokic is 24 years old. Crazy. Man, we got some good years with this guy. But, he's been playing well too, so I don't know, man. I don't know what these Clippers is going to do, but they need to do something, because if they lose this series tonight, man, I don't even... God, because the fact that they even came back 3-1, I'm not going to say act like the Nuggets is a bad team, because I'm a fan of the Denver Nuggets. I am. I do like the Denver Nuggets. But, man, the Clippers, who's supposed to be this defensive-minded team, you know, many like myself pegged them to even win this NBA championship, for them to be in this position, to be on the brink of elimination, facing the Nuggets tonight. And if they lose, oh, God, I myself won't hear the end of it. My friends going to get on me all the time. Kawhi Leonard, this won't look good for him. You know, it's the most pressure he's faced. Paul George, or Pandemic P, as my friend calls him. Oh, God. Doc Rivers, you know, who hasn't won anything with the Clippers since he's been in these past 7 seasons. Ty Lue, who's a former NBA champion, you know, as a player and as a coach. Oh, God. It's just, this would be monumental. You know, this would be the biggest disappointment in basketball. The biggest. Because you look at this team from top to bottom, this depth. Pat Bev, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, Ivica Zubac. Off the bench, you got Lou Will, Montrezl Harrell, both averaging 20, if not close to 20. Landry Shamet, Reggie Jackson, JaMychal Green, who's been playing well too for him as well since Montrezl ain't been showing up. I mean, golly. And I said the coaching staff, you know, you got Doc Rivers, you got Ty Lue, you got Sam Cassell. So what is it? What? You have all this play and all these talents with all these defensive-minded play style. Don't let this happen. Please, I beg you, Clippers, do not let this happen. Please. Please, 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 please. For basketball's sake. Because we have all been won this LA matchup in the Western Conference Finals, and we are one game away from it. LeBron and them took care of business in Game 5 in both series. Where that's going to be kind of, I'm also going to be worried about that, because even if they win this game, their rest. And that's another thing I talked about before, is it's like them being in sync going to this series. Because that's why I said it was going to be a problem with them going through these playoffs, because you know they haven't played that much together as a full roster. Somebody's either hurt, like Pat Bev was in the earlier of last series. You know, he's playing now. He got fouled out last game, playing only 18 minutes, you know, 5 fouls. So, you know, they got to be in sync. They got to play well. They got to have the grit, the heart that many have said that they had. You know, and their roster is better than the Nuggets. Not, like I said, not throwing any shade to the Nuggets. The Nuggets is a great team, but they're young. And, you know, it is looked that the Clippers, this is their time to win the NBA championship. And if they just can't get this done against a young Nuggets team, because even then, I don't even know if the Nuggets can survive LeBron James. If they, let's switch it. Let's say if the Nuggets win. Let's say if the Nuggets go into the Western Conference Finals and play the Los Angeles Lakers. That would be very interesting to see. Because then, who's going to stop LeBron? Oh, Michael Porter Jr.? I don't know about that. Gary Harris? Good defensive player, but this LeBron James is one series away from the NBA championship. He ain't touched it in the past year. And boy, oh boy, he's going to want it even more. I don't know. Who's to say? Let's say if they even make it to the Western Conference Finals, who's to say that they won't give them a series 2? Because what a story. What a story for these Nuggets to be down 3-1 in the first round, beat the Jazz. And if they come back from down 3-1 against the Clippers to beat them, wow. You know, what a story for these guys. But I just don't think, in honesty, you know, I don't think this is their year for them to do that. You know, eventually, you know, I think within the next 2 or 3 years, they are going to be that team, though. I think if they find a way to keep all these players together, you know, because you got Murray who already got his contract extension. I think Jokic's already got his extension. You know, Porter's on his rookie deal still. You got you got 2 or 3 more years with him on his rookie deal. You can do a little extension with him. Gary Harris, you already got him signed. Barton, I don't know what his contract situation is great. You just got him from Oklahoma City. So you got all these guys on this team. Torrey Craig, Paul Millsap, I think he got a year or 2 left on his deal. You have all these players, you know, going forward. You just keep going with them because those 3 core guys, if Murray, Jokic, and MPJ are all young, especially Michael Porter Jr., they're all young. So next 2 or 3 years, this might be the team to be in the West. This might be the team because if you look at the other teams in the Western Conference, you know, they have guys, but they are significantly a little bit older. You know, this young team, though, this young team and this Nuggets, They are going to be the team to beat in the West. You heard it here first. You are going to be the team to beat in the West. I'm going to root them on. But tonight, I can't root for you. Can't root for you, Denver. I can't. I got hope the Clippers get it together and they beat you all. So, there's a lot at stake for the Clippers if they lose this series. A lot at stake for them if they lose. So, yeah, that's pretty much a wrap up of the series. It's not, like I said, the games have been going down. It's only been week 4, and there's only a couple series going on. Like I said, the Celtics Heat playing right now. Shout out to Steve Nash, my GOAT, my favorite player of all time, getting the head coaching job at the Brooklyn Nets. I think it'll be a great coaching job for him. With Kevin Durant, who loves him and he worked with in the Golden State, and Kyrie Irving. Maybe hopefully make him become a better passer and go off the ball, even though he had a good assist season with the Celtics this last year. But kind of make him go work off the ball. And I'm interested to see what type of game plans he has with that team, because that could be the team to come out the East next year too. If everything goes according to plan, if KD comes back, just a little bit of himself, even come out this Achilles injury, if he comes back with just a little bit of himself, Kyrie Irving, he stays healthy. And he plays well, and they still have Karis LeVert who's been playing well as well. And Steve Nash, they got a bunch of good guys on that team. It'd be very intriguing to see. So, shout out to him. And, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for the show. I ain't going to just ramble on just for the sake of rambling on. But, yeah, I'm done. Let's go, Clippers. Y'all my last hope, man. Come on now. I mean, I like the Nuggets too, but dang, I just want the Clippers to win, man. I just wanted to win, But that's all I gotta say today, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in to Trey Ball. Yeah, I'm out of here. Peace out.